Hello and welcome back to the Preppy podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening today. I have been traveling all over the past 2 weeks. I was in Charleston, Nantucket, Aspen, the Hamptons. This week I am happy to be home, but I am so excited for Camp Preppy coming up, which brings me to my guest today. Today I have Brittany from Be Joyful Illustrations. I met Brittany many years ago. We still can't really picture where. I think a work event a while ago that I had hired her for a client. But I have just loved getting to know her. I got to have dinner with her last year, and I just really enjoy spending time with her. And I know those who are going to Camp Preppy will as well, because she is going to be offering custom illustrations for all of the guests of Camp Preppy. So it's going to be just a wonderful time. She even brought a bunch of stuff to bedazzle them. We're going to talk more about that in the episode. But of course, just go over her whole journey of how she started her business, how she developed her skill as an artist, even some tips on how she grew her following on Instagram. So I really, really enjoy this episode, and I know you guys will too. All right, so why don't you first let everyone know who you are, where you live, and what you do?
So I am Brittany Joy-Seppi. I live in Pottstown, PA, which is like 40 minutes north of Philly. And I am 9 to 5 at a finance corp company. And then I am the owner of Be Joyful Illustrations that I started back in 2015.
I love that. And I was trying to this morning think about how we met. I know in person the other year or two from Sarah from May, we went to Posh and I got to meet in person. But I think, did we connect online through like Lydia Marie or somewhat? Like, do you remember even?
It's funny. I was looking back at this the other night to actually see when we first started. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a chicken or the egg situation, but you had reached out to me about the Posh
Oh,
collection
yeah.
live illustration, but
Yeah.
then you also had hired me to do a custom illustration for you of those like sparkly Kate
Oh my
Spade
God.
shoes.
Yes, I
And like they
remember.
were on like this like blue and white stool. So
Yes.
like I don't know which one came first, but
Okay, I totally forgot about those shoes because I used that on my blog header for the longest time years ago.
so I'm
Oh
thinking
my,
I don't know if you stumbled across my Instagram,
yeah.
but that's kind of where I started. But
Okay, that's so funny. I was just trying to think of that. But anyway, I'm so excited to learn more about you and your business today. And I know my listeners will be as well. So let's start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about you and growing up, your childhood, young Brittany. Were you someone that, was drawing and making things at a young age, or entrepreneurial? What was your childhood like?
So first off, I feel like a lot of people that know me now would be for me to say this, but I think up until high school, I was pretty much a tomboy. I like did more pink. Did all the sports, and I had a brother. So I didn't dress like a tomboy, but I did more pink.
Mm.
I stuck more to the. I mean, even today I'm in the blue, but I stuck more to the blues, the purples, sweatshirts. I grew up on Long Island. That's where all my family still is. That's actually where my husband's from as well. So I probably, from an entrepreneur standpoint, I was thinking about this the other night. Originally, the answer was going to be no, I'm definitely
Mhm.
not. I didn't think about this until later on in life. But I actually, growing up, I used to, on Long Island, it's very popular to go to Fire Island. And
Oh.
my friend had a boat. So, like every weekend, we go to Fire Island and we used to make these bead bracelets all the time. And then we'd sell them on the beach and we'd make a
Oh.
lot of money. So, we did that like for probably like 3 or 4 summers. And then I don't know if I'm dating myself, but I don't remember when you used to go on vacation and you had like the hair wrap
Oh my gosh, yes.
charm at the bottom of
Yeah.
it, and everyone's like, "Oh, where'd she come back from vacation?" But I learned how to do that, and I used to do it on the beach on Fire Island for people too.
Oh
And
my gosh.
but yeah, so I guess I by accident am like I had a little bit of entrepreneur in me. From an artist standpoint, my grandpa unfortunately passed away when I was really young, but he was an actual artist. He traveled
Oh,
back and forth from Prague.
wow.
So I definitely think I have like his he passed that down to me.
Yeah.
My brother can doodle too. But But yeah, so I definitely have always been interested in art. I took
Mhm.
art in high school. Originally, I was going to go to college for interior design. Like, so I did love art and it was a lot of my life. But then there was also this total opposite side of me that um, was interested in a lot of other things. So
I love that. Oh my gosh, I do remember those hair wrap things, though. That just brought me back. You were so cool when you came back from like Punta Cana or wherever with the tan and the hair wrap.
I keep trying to get my daughter to want, but I'm like, you want me to do one for you? You'd be really cool when you go to school. She's like, no. I'm like, okay.
What a time. So then when it came time for college, where and what did you end up studying? I know you mentioned that you had an interest in interior design, but I'm curious, where your journey led you then from there.
Yeah, so I was between 2 different colleges. I was between High Point in North Carolina, and that was gonna be, full in interior design, like, that's what I wanna do, and then, which I wound up going to was I went to Loyola University in Maryland, and I actually have a mishmash degree, but I went in thinking I was gonna be a forensic
Okay.
scientist, so, like,
Oh.
totally 2 different ends of the spectrum between, like, interior design, forensics, um, and I started out you have to get, like, the doctorate degree and everything else to start after my first semester, I was like, "Nope, this isn't me. What am I doing here?"
Yeah.
Like, "No, I'm not." So I quickly pivoted. I had taken an advertising class and I was like, "Oh, I'm actually really interested in this." I wound up graduating with um, an advertising PR degree and then also a psychology degree. I still was thinking maybe I can do forensic psychology. Like I still was like hanging on to that for a little bit. I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
maybe. And then I did have a minor in graphic design and art. So I still like stuck to those, but I kept them more like underneath rather than like pursuing them more.
Yeah.
And my internship at college, actually, I worked at, I don't even know if they're still around, is Fire and Ice Jewelry. They're in a lot of
Okay.
like airports, but
Okay.
they're like a super small little boutique company. And I would take photographs of all of their jewelry and then like edit them and then
Uh-huh.
put them up on their website. I make all their like pamphlets and stuff. So yeah. So I that's my mishmash graduation.
So the forensic science, like where did that come from? The interest in that to begin with?
So, I feel like throughout this interview, so I am, like I feel like 2 very extremes. I'm very, like, joyful, happy, girly, but then,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm really interested in, like, true crime and, like, love that stuff, and I've always been. I read, like if you ask me, like, what books I mainly read, like, all my books I thought about it because you're like, "What books or reads do you, like, to your listeners?" They're mainly murder books, so I'm like, I can't recommend those, but yeah, so I don't know. I just
It's just
always
an
was, like,
interest.
fascinated with it and interested in it, but but yeah, it wasn't for me.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay. So then you graduated with this degree. What was sort of your first career journey then? What did you go into doing and kind of how did that lead into finance, I guess also?
Yeah, so, um so after college, so me and my husband, we've been dating since high school, and he went to college in Pennsylvania. That's how we wound up coming to Pennsylvania, but, so we did college separately, but we didn't wanna start careers separately.
Mm.
He's in cybersecurity. His internship turned into a really good first job. My internship, the graphic design one, they didn't offer it for me until like the fall after we graduated. So
Mm.
I needed to find something. So what I thought got a graphic design job in Pennsylvania for a magazine company,
Okay.
100% turned out to be one of those pyramid schemes. So
Oh.
I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, what am I doing? Um, so I lasted there for about 3 months, and then I walked away and realized shortly after, well, I gotta pay the bills. Like, I'm living on
Yeah.
my own now with my boyfriend at the time, and, Prudential was, like, hiring just a bunch of people to be on the phones, and I was like, "It's right around the corner for me," because at the
Yeah.
time I lived in North Wales, but then Hurricane Sandy hit, and
Oh.
they fired everybody.
Oh no.
So then I met someone from there that eventually told me about a different company that is at the company I'm at now,
Mm.
and they had a social media job available. So even though I was in a finance company, I did nothing with finance. I wasn't on the phones. I literally was the owner of their Twitter account, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. I eventually helped them launch their LinkedIn account, but yeah, so even though I work in a finance company, I don't do that job now. But even though I work in a
Okay.
finance company, it's still not I'm not doing
Totally
interior
like
design.
the
Don't ask me
numbers.
about investments. No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. What a journey. So then I'm curious, the art, we mentioned that you started, did you say 2015?
Yes.
Your art business? Okay. So how did that come to be? Like, was it something that started as a hobby and an interest for family and friends and then kind of grew? I'd love to hear, when art came back into your life, or maybe it kind of was always there in the background, but when it turned into, an actual business then.
Yeah, so I always did stuff like on the side. I always continued painting. I was painting my all my friends knew that I painted, so I'd paint like jean jackets for them or I'd paint like shoes for them. Someone was like, "Hey, can you paint on like this rocking chair? I'm going to give it to my friend." And I'm like, "Sure, I'll do that." So, like it was one of those like I'll paint anything.
Yeah.
But and I kept telling my husband I was like, "I really want to do something with this," but at the time like I don't even know. Yeah, Etsy was around, but, like, I didn't know how to take, like I was more on, like, the painting form, so, like, watercolor, acrylic. I was really struggling to get them, like, from looking like that I could sell prints of
Hmm.
them, and so, like, I was really struggling with that, and then my husband in 2015 was like, "Here's this Wacom tablet, make it digital, like, just start drawing digitally," and I was like, "I don't know how to draw digitally." So I started drawing with it, and I just thought it was fun. And at the time, Instagram was not what Instagram is now, and it was still very much like just posting photos. A lot of, like, artists that were really big now were, like, just starting out then, so I feel like I kinda got in at, like, a great time,
Yeah.
um, and I was just doing it for fun, and then I started getting people messaging me being like, "Oh, like, do you do customs? I like your style." And I'm like, "Someone wants to pay me to, like, do something? Like, great."
Yeah.
So I opened up my Etsy shop solely thinking I was gonna still sell prints, but I just kept getting hit with these custom orders, and I
Mhm.
was like, "Okay, this is my bread and butter, like, I gotta stop resisting these custom orders, like, let's lean into it." Um, and I did that up until 2019,
Okay.
and I had my daughter, and it was just too hard to juggle between the custom illustrations and full-time job and daughter. So I took a step back for a little while. I was still posting on Instagram, but I wasn't really like pushing my work much.
Hmm.
And then around 2022 was when my daughter was, I was under the parenting control that I was like, I got this again. Like, I need to give this one last shot. And that's when in 1 year, like really pushing all my love into it is when like my Instagram skyrocketed and I went from like 3,000 followers to over 100,000
Oh
followers.
my
And
gosh.
I started getting a lot of more like collaborations and
Yeah.
people reaching out to me or companies reaching out to me, and I was like, "Okay." So, I knew you asked about the start of my business though, but
Yeah, no, that the whole journey and the start, no, that makes total sense. And so I must have looking back, I probably contacted you back in like 2015,
it was
2016.
2016. I look back at the
Yeah.
photo of when I posted like all the live Poshmark stuff, and it was
Yeah.
2016. So you got me in the beginning, which it's interesting because I looked back at a lot of my collaborations, and I guess in the time I was naive, but like I had some like really like pretty big companies like contact me early on.
Yeah. I mean, it shows your talent though, and that you attracted them, honestly. Um, so tell me about then, going all in then in 2022, you just said, right? Okay. So, first of all, I think a lot of my listeners are so curious about growing a following. That's something that I ask a lot of people. And I think having the following that you have is so impressive. So any tips around how you did that or advice for that?
Yeah, so, I really did a lot of research into, like one, so my main platform is Instagram. I do have a Facebook. I'll admit I feel too old and not good enough to do TikTok, and I don't do videos or drawings, so I'm mainly just Instagram. So it is helpful to focus on solely one account because
Yeah.
each of them have just such different followers and different expectations. Um, but with Instagram, I started just doing a ton of research of like all the different algorithms, and unfortunately, they changed them a lot.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was very big with consistency matters and like
Mm-hmm.
just being present matters. But the biggest thing I think for me that changed in 2022 that really helped grow my followers was previous to that, I was playing the compare game a lot. I was constantly looking at a lot of my like idol artists and idol like digital artists of like I just want to be like them. So I just kept trying to draw their style and it wasn't really mine.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back in 2022, I was like, I'm leaning into my brand. Like, I just want to draw what makes me happy. I don't care if it doesn't stick at first, but I think because of that and showing more of my genuine side, I started getting a lot of like a lot of engagement that way. But
Mm-hmm.
for anybody trying to grow their account, consistency is key.
Yeah.
Instagram now does do a better job at like also giving you tips. They'll give like wrap ups every month of like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, like here is like where your prime like time to post and stuff like that. That stuff does help.
Yeah.
But for me, I think a lot of it was just consistency. I did start to use stories. Reels, I'm still so awkward in.
No. Yeah, those are all really great advice. And I like what you said. Instagram these days, it does help you and guide you a little bit. Even, if I post something and then if I go to share it and post it, it'll be like, if you add music to this, it'll do better. And I think it prompts you now, which is really helpful. But I think what you said about, staying genuine to yourself and kind of, putting blinders on is so smart, because I think literally everyone, I don't know anyone who doesn't play the comparison game, or doesn't, look at someone else and want what they have, or feel intimidated that they're not there yet. So I think that's such a human and natural thing to do. I mean, even a lot of times I'll mute certain accounts if I'm like, I feel like I'm just looking at this account because I'm trying to be them, or I'm like, why am I not them, or whatever it may be. And it's like, that's not healthy if you keep doing that. And it's taking, besides just affecting how your style is, or I think mentally it's not good, the comparison. So I think that's such a smart thing to say.
Yeah, and the one thing that's nice is I will say like the art community themselves are like the nicest people, where I feel like I reached out to one of like what I would consider one of the biggest Instagram like artists, and she's
Hmm.
like my mentor, but she's like the sweetest person ever. But like at the time I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm gonna DM her right now. Um so like within like the little community, we're all great. But yeah, I just kept being like, why doesn't my art look like her? Like, why is she getting that
Yeah.
deal when like it just I don't know what it was, but I came back in 2022, but I was like, why did I start this business? It purely was to spread joy. Like it
Yeah.
just was to make me happy, to bring beauty into the reading a book, the day-to-days. Like a lot of
Yeah.
my illustrations are, I don't want to say monotonous type things, but they're like just people, mostly women
Yeah.
just living in the world. And so
Yeah.
like just trying to bring like beauty to like the simple things, and not so much worrying about what other artists are doing at the time.
Definitely. No, so speaking of your art, for listeners who might not be familiar with it, can you describe it and kind of what you offer? Because I do feel like, yeah, you illustrate these beautiful, cute women riding bikes, or with a great sun hat, and I just love it. So can you describe that, your style and what you're known
Yeah,
for?
so you'll see a couple of them behind me a little
Hmm.
bit. But I would say so even though my art is digital, I still try to keep it to look more like soft and watercolor. I actually have had a couple of clients being like, "You didn't send me the original." And I'm like, that there's no original. Like there's
Yeah.
so I'm happy that some people think that it's still like painting. But I would say it's very soft, playful. From like a color palette standpoint, and then from like what you'll find on my Instagram is pretty much all of I call them my ladies. Like so all of my ladies just drawn doing everyday things. Most of my followers seem to be huge book lovers
Hmm.
and wine drinkers, because anytime I post either one of those, my engagement always is great, which I can relate. I love both of those. So
Yeah.
good. But it's funny because when it comes to my custom illustrations, which I don't post a lot of them on my website or on my Instagram, they're like they run the gamut. Like
Oh.
I would say that when it comes to custom, so what I offer is custom illustrations. And that could be families, it could be an object, it could be one time I painted this one of my clients, I think my most interesting piece was they wanted me to illustrate he wanted to illustrate his wife and his two sisters as trees. There was these set of trees at their house growing up that they loved. So I literally illustrated their heads as trees. So
Oh
anyhow,
my gosh.
nothing's off the table. But yeah, so I do anything customized for families. And then I also got into patterns back in 2023. I
Okay.
had come across a blazer company called Power Women that their specialty is like everything's real pockets, which is amazing. They have like the lip gloss pocket on the inside. They have like the phone pocket. All the pockets on the side are actually real, but I don't know how they design it, but they look flattering.
Yeah.
Um, so they partnered with local artists and, at the time, they're based in Dallas, and I was like, "You
Okay.
know what? I'm a PA, but I love this. I really wanna get into patterns, like, I'm just gonna go for it." So I DM'd the owner, and she gave me a shot, and I designed a liner that was like a peachy lemon. I don't have the print here, but I do actually. It's this one.
Oh,
So I
fun.
designed this. So that's on the inside of their liner, and that, like, opened up the door for me also to patterns, which is kind of what I've been
Okay.
playing with for the past few years,
Yeah.
but I can do patterns. Um, and then I also am part of I am the custom illustrator for a wedding invitation company called
Oh,
Julia K Design. They're
okay.
based in Pennsylvania as well. And anytime that she offers like a ton of different suites, but she has custom illustration suites that I can illustrate for their bridal shower, like the couple or an engagement announcement, also their wedding crest. That's probably the biggest one that I
Yeah.
illustrate for her. I illustrate a lot of the wedding crests. I've illustrate, like, maps sometimes of,
Okay.
like, if they have, like, a tropical island,
Mhm.
wedding, so, like, in Key Largo or something, I've illustrated, like, all the different spots that they're gonna go during the wedding weekend. Um,
I
but, yeah,
love
so I
that.
feel like I kinda run the gamut of, like, what I illustrate and what I can offer.
I love that though, especially because you can customize. I think that's such a good and unique offering. I mean, that's kind of how I found you. And I came to you with, I want these Kate Spade shoes that I was obsessed with on my little chinoiserie garden stool from my grandfather. um, but so tell me then, you've had some amazing partnerships and collaborations. What would be a dream one for you? Like a dream customer or a dream collab?
So I feel like this was hard just because as I said, I feel like I offer so many different things, so I feel like I have a decent amount of answers. So, as you know, but for our listeners, I launched a scarf line back in 2023. I'm wearing one of
Mhm.
them right now. Um, so I think from a scarf line standpoint, I'm going to shoot big, and I would love to get a partnership or collaboration down the road with like her. I can't even pronounce their name, so I shouldn't even say this as their collab. But is it Hermes or Hermes?
Hermes or Hermes? Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't even say it like that. I want to be clad because I can't even pronounce it.
No,
Um,
you're good.
But then for that, and then I also right now I'm in the mix of trying to, like, really lean into the patterns and stuff and, like, expand my inventory of what I offer. So, like, I
Mhm.
started pajamas, so, like, I would love to even do a pattern design for, like, a PJ company, so, like,
Mhm.
something like pajamas or, like, so something in that regard. And then from a print illustration standpoint, I think it would be Hallmark. I would love to
Oh,
have
yeah.
a card collection with Hallmark.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Are you a big Hallmark, like, movie, and showgirl? Yeah, same.
I don't care how corny it is, every year, Christmas time.
I was gonna say, I feel like one of your ladies is, like, totally a Hallmark girly.
Yes, I was actually, on LinkedIn, the one of the sister companies, the CEO of Hallmark, like, posted one of my photos, so I was like, "Oh, this is my in." So I
Yes.
pinged them, but then they, like, let me know, they're like, "We're sorry, we're actually, like, not really even though, like, we're a sister company, we're not connected to them at all." So
Well, we're putting it out there if anyone has any Hallmark connections here, because that would be amazing. I'm curious, what's the best part about having your own business, about doing your art, and then what's the worst or like your least favorite part in it?
hmm, I think my favorite part of it is when especially since, like, my bread and butter is custom illustrations, my favorite part is just seeing the reactions or getting all the excitement when I hand or, like, am shipping them and I get the feedback from my clients on their work, because a lot of the stuff that I do is not even recreating a photo. It's one, recreating a memory or creating a memory that never even happened. So, like, just, like, seeing the reaction and that, like, my art is bringing them that much joy and emotions, I, like, can't think of any other thing that, like, that's what keeps me going every day. So,
Yeah.
like, I would say that that's, like, my most favorite thing, of doing this from a what I hate the least. It's definitely putting all my listings on my Etsy account, on my Etsy shop, which is why I don't have as many as I should have. So if anybody on the line also knows how to maximize with importing a ton, that'd be great.
Yes, I feel like that's really common though. I've heard people reach out to me asking like, "Do you know anyone who helps even with Shopify, like the uploading and the maintenance of things?" It just, yeah, it's so tedious and it's repetitive. I think that's what the part that I hate about it is.
Yes, yes. And I last year tried to take a break from Etsy because their fees are just so high that I was like, I'm going to
Mhm.
build my own website. And I built my own website. But I will admit, just from a traffic standpoint, Etsy just like I feel like when people think art or like homemade things, they just think Etsy. So
Yeah,
like at the end of the day, I just went back to Etsy.
that's fair. I feel like, especially like males, like my husband, if he ever is ordering me something, I customize like Etsy's the first place he'll go. So that's very smart to stay on there still. Um, so I'm curious because I asked this to everyone. What does preppy mean to you? How would you describe preppy?
Okay, so preppy to me is definitely more of a mindset than just the style. I mean, obviously you have a style, but I feel when I think preppy, because I would definitely consider myself
Mhm.
preppy. A lot of my friends call me preppy all the time, and I take it as a compliment
Yeah.
because I consider it a smile with confidence.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, like, I just feel like you can wear preppy clothes, but you have to have the energy and, like, the positivity to, like,
Mm.
be able to own it, and, like, I just feel my best when I'm wearing my preppy clothes, so
Yeah.
I really feel like it's more of a mindset than just a style.
I love what you just said. Smile with confidence. Like, perfect. Like, we need to coin that, trademark it. We need a little, like, one of your ladies illustrated like this. I just love it. That's such a good answer. Um, so I love hearing tidbits from my podcast guests, and I know my listeners do, of resources. Like, is there a resource you can share with listeners, whether it's a book, a newsletter, website, a group? What's something that you think has really helped you or you rely on that other people might benefit from?
Yeah, so I feel like for me, it's a couple things. One, I definitely would say lean into mentorship. Like I've reached out, I run the gamut, especially since I also have a 9 to 5. But just from like my side business standpoint, I have a mentorship from like someone that's really good in business. And then I also have that mentorship from like an art standpoint on like, hey, I need a new printer. Like, are you willing to recommend like what printer are you using? What's the
Mhm.
paper that you're using or what's the weight? Like just to like help you out. And like
Mhm.
for any artists on the call that need help with those kind of things, more than happy, please reach out to me. So I would say like mentorships, like definitely don't sleep on that. Like, and
Mhm.
don't be afraid.
Any advice for that? Like, yeah, so just reaching out, like finding someone on LinkedIn or social media
Yeah, so
or
I would say LinkedIn I use more from, like, the business standpoint, from the art standpoint. I tend to, I will say I just slide into their DMs. I tend to just slide into their DMs and I would say I sometimes, like, I don't start with, like, the big wigs or the biggest people. I
Yeah.
feel like I just hit it at the right time when, like, the people were growing and now they're huge that, like but I'm still under their wing. But even, like, just, like, searching on Instagram and just searching
Mhm.
other, art accounts and, like, they don't have to have a lot of followings, like,
Mhm.
just, like but feel free to just ping them and ask them questions. I have coffee chats. I know I told you I have a coffee chat with Sam on, I don't know when this is airing, but Sam on, Monday just to, like, pick her brain. So, like,
Mhm.
I feel like that's one thing I've, like, gotten over the fear of, like, "What if they say no?" It's okay. Go
Yeah.
on to the next person.
Yeah.
Like and it's nothing personal either. They just sometimes don't have the time. Some people just don't want to mentor, and it's nothing
Yeah.
against them. It's just like because it takes its own skill set to mentor
Yeah.
someone. So, but I do think mentorship is really, really helpful. I even spoke to Sarah May when I was trying to do the patterns. Well, like, help me. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how do
Yeah.
you do this? And she's like, I got you. I got you. So I would definitely say that.
Yep.
From a book standpoint, the most recent one that I read that I really liked was called On Brand. You can find it
Okay.
on Amazon. But it's all about just like finding your personal brand. So for someone that's like really struggling with like, I think that that's like your biggest secret weapon is like,
Mhm.
there's only one you in the world. So like
Mhm.
really lean into you and your style And this book really helps you and maps out like how to actually make a brand. And it could be both a personal brand, a business brand. Like it runs the gamut of like how to
Mhm.
do it, but like it really just helps you feel comfortable in your own shoes. So
Yep.
I highly recommend that one too.
No, that's a great advice. And I like what you said about mentorship too, that you can have a mentor for different aspects. Like you said, there's one for business, there's one for more the art side. Maybe you have a mentor who's really good at networking and that person mentors you in networking. I think that's smart because I think a lot of us think like, oh, you just have like one mentor and it's like a broad mentor. But no, you could have mentors for different aspects of business or life, right?
Yeah, I go to the women's conference in Philadelphia every year
Uh-huh.
usually because I just get so inspired by a lot of them, and that's, like, one of the biggest things that all of them always say. They're like, "Don't have just 1 mentor,
Mm.
like, have at least 3 or 4
Mm.
for all different aspects of your life." Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay."
Yeah. And wait, what you just said there too is a great little tidbit is a lot of cities have different conferences for women or business. I feel like on the podcast we always talk about like larger ones like the Southern Sea, New England Coastal. But you could stay within your city. A lot of them, do have programs and conferences or chamber of commerces. Like you don't have to go far and there are some amazing people you could learn from.
Yeah, and I will say too, even the women's conference in Philly, they just launched last year, they launched a virtual one too, and,
Mm.
like, when you go to the in-person one, you also automatically get a ticket to the virtual one,
Oh, cool.
and I actually liked the virtual one almost more than the in-person one, so,
Oh,
like, if you aren't even local, like, that's, like, also another great one. They have sometimes some pretty big people that go to
yeah.
that conference,
I think they had Martha Stewart like a year or 2 ago,
yep,
right?
they had Martha
Yeah.
Stewart, Rachel Ray,
Wow.
Jessica Alba. Last year they had the Prime Minister of New Zealand. She was
Oh my
amazing.
gosh. Random. I love that. Oh my gosh, such great advice. Okay, so I also want to talk about Camp Preppy because Brittany, you will be there doing custom illustrations of all of our campers. So can you tell us about that? Like, I know we were texting about you're going to bring like little details to customize them, right?
Yeah. So, I can't remember if we're still doing it the first day.
Starting the first day and then, spreading it out the second, third day if we need.
For anybody that's joining us, I will be doing a live illustration of you in your outfit. And then what's going to happen is I'll just be illustrating it on my iPad for the time being, but I wanted to also make them a little extra special. So I went crazy and I have different size pearls that we can add for accents. I have glitter.
Love.
Hopefully, the hotel will be okay with the glitter mess. I will try to keep it to a minimum. And then rhinestones. I'm just like thinking of bows. Like I'm trying to bring a bunch of different things to make it as customized as possible. And obviously, you can decide if you want that or not in case you want to get it framed.
Yeah.
I could see causing a problem, but
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. Anytime there's an event that there's a custom illustration, I just love it so much. It's such a great little takeaway. And I have a bunch of mine like framed in my office. So I think, campers are gonna really love this aspect. And yeah, when you texted about the little details, I was like, yes, yes, and yes. I don't know
yeah,
who
I was
wouldn't
like,
want
how can
like,
I make this more? I was like, this needs
yeah,
more.
yeah. Well, so that's so exciting. What are you excited about for Camp Preppy besides doing, the illustrations? Is there an activity or something you're really looking forward to?
So there's two I'm really looking for. One, learning how to play mahjong. I don't know how to play it all. Never played. So I'm really excited about that. And then secondly, also, I think you have it. Is needle pointing
Yeah,
still like
yeah.
okay, so that because I am actually trying to on some of my more simplistic designs, trying to make templates
Oh, cool.
for different companies because I know some of my other artist friends have done it. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
that actually is really cool. And for some of my more simplistic ones, like the girl back behind me, she's just a
yeah,
simple black and white, and it's very, like, basic. I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, that would look really beautiful being embroidered on a pillow."
Yes.
So I'm really excited for that just to learn how to do it and then understand, like, the inner workings of it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's going to be fabulous. Paris, who has been on the podcast before, she's going to be teaching the needlepoint section, and she created a custom canvas for us based on Camp Preppy. So you have to go to Camp Preppy to be able to get this canvas, and it's so cute. I think everyone's going to love it. I've been keeping it a secret, but I'm sure you guys can kind of guess what it is. But so thank you, Brittany, for coming on today and sharing some of your advice and just your brand with everyone. I learned a lot and I just love chatting with you and I can't wait to see you, in a month or two at Camp Preppy. So my final question is, where can people find you? Let them know your website, social media, all of that.
So you can find me on Etsy on Be Joyful Illustrations, and it's just the letter B and then joyful. I didn't say this in the beginning, but it's actually a play after my name because my middle name is Joy.
Yeah.
So when I was trying to figure out a name for my company, that's how I created
Cute.
it. But yeah, so Be Joyful Illustrations on Etsy, and then also I am on Facebook. And I am on Threads, but only because they're connected to Instagram. So if you really want to see most of my stuff and where I'm seen the most, it's definitely on my Instagram account, which is just the same, Be Joyful Illustrations.
Fabulous. All right. Well, thank you, Brittany. This was a pleasure. And I will see you shortly.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you so much for listening to the Preppy Podcast. I hope this put a little prep in your step for the day. Please subscribe, rate, and review on wherever you listen to your podcast, and follow along with @the Preppy Podcast on social media.